everyone. Welcome back. This is season 5. Can you believe that? Oh my god. It's interesting. Amazing. This is where we're going to be talking about the real shift. The identity collapse. That's how I've decided to name it. Like the real transition. Well, when I moved to the US, it was like congratulations from everywhere. You're gonna have a new life, things are gonna be okay. It actually looked like progress, opportunity, what else? Stability, growth. But there was something that was going on internally. There was some sense of, I don't know who this is going to be. I felt like I was disappearing, to put it in simpler words. I thought moving to America would expand my life. I didn't expect it to shrink me. The move was just geographic. Wherever I came from, to America. So I thought. It taught me otherwise though. It was not just geographical. It was psychological. Hi, I'm Lydia. In this channel, we ground ourselves and name what is. I share real life stories in the context of transition, not the polished versions, but the honest one. So that when life shades under us, everything is falling apart under your feet, or things are changing, things are moving, you don't feel crazy or you don't feel alone. If you're becoming someone new and you don't fully recognize that person yet, you're in the right place. So, I packed my bags. If you've been following along now, this is a place I've already had my short, probably 3-4 months of rest post my first master's degree in London, and I'm ready to go. We've already been married, things are already looking different, and here I'm supposed to be going to the US now to start my new life. Remember, my husband is stationed in Kuwait, in Afghanistan, and comes to the US for the purposes of rest and recovery. That's what they call it, R&R, and also to receive me. I remember the flight, the suitcases I carried, the excitement. I remember thinking, this is expansion, yes. This is the next level, yes. Airport, goodbye family. There were tears, hope, promise, lots of hugs. And of course, I believed this was growth. And then I got here. And slowly I started to see some cracks. The first few weeks felt strange. Felt really, really strange. Simple things felt heavy. For real. Driving. I'm used to driving on the left. Then now I'm supposed to be driving on the right. I felt like being a toddler again, but in an adult body. Changing lanes, looking at the side mirrors, I was constantly second guessing myself. How to, the indicators or the blinkers, whatever we call it, depending on context. The wipers, see, everything orientationally in the car changes. So we used to clicking some things on the right, they're now on the left, some things now on the right, and you're trying to find that balance. Remember, we are also trying to beat time because we want to spend as much time together. My husband has to go back to his duty in 2 weeks. That's all we got. Grocery shopping, things felt strange. The brands I was used to, the tastes I was used to, the structure of the grocery store, how we checked out. For the first time in a long time, everything was almost paperless. I was used to cash or a mobile transaction, mobile money. If you're Kenyan, you know what M-Pesa is. So maybe something like Venmo or PayPal, like that's usually how Kenya operated most of the time. Small conversations didn't just happen. In fact, even trying to smile at someone felt like I had to do a lot of calculations in my head. That felt heavy. And then there was paperwork. Okay, now you have a green card and there are conditions under it. You can't do this, you can't travel outside for, I don't know, the first how many months, and when you go you can't stay for this long, and you know, still they don't hit me. They hit me later. Stay with me, we will get there. You know, of course you have authorization to work, but what kind of work am I going to do? Started questioning a few things. But within those 2 weeks, I really just wanted to, you know, get acclimated to my life. What surprised me was I was not introduced. Yeah, I was introduced to one of the people that lived close by, but see, it was because I was someone that my husband knew before, fellow Kenyan, going to the same church and stuff like that. But like, here is a neighbor, here is your neighbor. That didn't come. And I was like, man, this is not what I'm used to, because we are so used to living as a community that, you know. Anyway, I lack the words because I don't know how to express how it felt so different and so heavy. Now, I went from making legal arguments, preparing legal documents, advising clients, to asking if I was allowed to open a bank account. If I could open a bank account. Do you know how, not paralyzing, do you know how disorienting that can be? For the first time in a very long time, I felt like I needed help filling out a document I could have handled in my sleep back home. Something definitely shifted. I started not to recognize that woman. I used to be decisive. I used to make hard calls. I used to trust my judgment. And suddenly, I couldn't even decide what brand of milk to buy without second-guessing myself. I became more dependent than I had ever been. And to make things worse, the first document I ever read and I was supposed to be signing or to be acclimated with was a military document. I think it might have been life insurance, it might have been medical insurance, something like that. And the word was dependent. To date, I have a love-hate relationship with that word dependent. And I don't know whether to equate my negative feeling about that word to how I felt in my first times, or is it just not a good word to name someone a dependent, particularly an adult? Anyway, I found myself dependent on paperwork, dependent on permissions, dependent on someone else's timeline. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this and then I'm like, I don't have a choice but to say, okay. And that did something to me. My confidence didn't just disappear dramatically. It started to erode quietly. I started asking, is this okay? Does this make sense? What do you think I should do? I had never sounded like that before. And that's the fracture right there. That sometimes we just really do not realize how transition can disorient you. I didn't know it then. But autonomy is oxygen. And when oxygen is thinner, you really don't collapse immediately. You start shrinking. No one prepares you for this part of immigration. You don't just lose geography, you lose familiar systems, you lose competence, you lose predictability, you lose status, you lose speed. And when those disappear all at once, your nervous system goes into survival mode. This is cultural disorientation layered with identity shock. And when it's prolonged, it starts to feel like something is wrong with you. Now, instead of recognizing something destabilizing happened to you, you blame yourself. You start thinking, why can't I do this? You start thinking, this must just be me. I honestly thought something was wrong with me. But nothing was wrong with me. Something destabilizing had happened to me. And that distinction changes everything. Now I could, if I knew what I know now, I would have handled things differently then. I had been through something destabilizing. And if I named it then, I would have known to ground myself. Well, you know what? The difference was in Kenya, I knew who I was. I was educated, I was capable, I was seen. In America, I was a visa category. I was an immigrant. I had an immigrant visa or green card, whatever it is. I was grateful, but I was grieving. I was grateful to have joined my husband and wanting to start a new life, and this was part of the process. But I was grieving who I was, and I didn't have the language for that grief. I didn't know how to say I'm grieving, or I didn't even know I was grieving. Because sometimes we just go through the motions. And at that time, I also didn't think I was allowed to do both. And it felt like an inward struggle of why am I not being grateful for what for this opportunity to be with my husband as to start making a life. If I felt guilty for grieving when I needed to really name and sit with the fact that I was grieving and give myself the grace to grieve. If you're in transition right now, and this is why I do this, and you might feel smaller than you used to be, before you try to fix yourself, name what shifted. Name it. Did you lose autonomy? Did you lose familiarity? Did you lose status? Did you lose community? Because unnamed loss turns into self-blame. I don't know how many times I can tell you how I have seen that, particularly with men. I've seen women bounce right back, start to do some stuff, but it takes a while, it takes longer, and it's harder on men. I want to remind you that named loss turns into processing. Because if you name that I am losing my community, I'm losing my status, I'm losing this, I'm losing that, and I want to sit with it, then you can process what that means for you. And you then are able to comfortably sit with it. And once you stop attacking yourself, then you can start rebuilding. And that is courage. Well, while I was trying to adjust to a new country, something else was quietly happening. My professional identity. The one I had worked for years wasn't transferring. And that would break something in me I didn't know was fragile. Next, I'll tell you what living as a visa status does to your sense of control. Becoming is not a one big moment. It is a series of tiny, quiet transitions, and we deserve gentleness through all of them. If this resonated with you, please subscribe and come back tomorrow, because I'm telling this journey in order, one chapter at a time, and the next piece might be the one you need most. And if you've ever moved somewhere and felt smaller instead of bigger, tell me. I want you to know that you're not alone. Please comment and like the video. See you in the next one.